All right, what is up, you guys? Today we're gonna make a pretty easy one. It might be like kind of too easy almost, or not. Probably the hardest part is gonna be finding the mushrooms for it. You wanna use the king oyster mushrooms for it. Oh, got some flowers just falling apart here. You can also, alternatively, if you really can't find these, use just regular mushrooms, but you just won't have like the same look or texture. In any case, it'll taste really great, and yeah, all you need is some mushrooms, a couple of buns, some barbecue sauce, whichever one you like. Make sure you check the ingredients to make sure it's vegan. A little bit of oil, cayenne pepper, paprika, salt, and garlic. So yeah, let's just get started. So first things first, you want to preheat your oven to 400. If you have an air fryer, it's going to go a lot faster. Because they just cook faster, I guess, because they're such a small little convection oven. So yeah, anyways, let's get started. So I guess I need my cutting board. You would think after all this time I would just be 100% prepared, but I get distracted so easily. Cut this open. So I'm sure that you've, if you've ever seen anybody use these king oyster mushrooms before, you've probably seen this method, but just in case, you just take them like this and just pull them like along the sides, like on every single side. And this will help kind of like create like a shredding effect, because I guess I should mention, we're making a pulled barbecue pork, but it's mushrooms. Also, you can find these king oyster mushrooms more in like your local mom and pop shop, in an Asian market. Probably TNT has them if you're near one of those. Should be fairly simple. They start kind of just pulling apart. I'll show you in a second. I said to put it down, otherwise I was going to start like forking my fingers, which sounds terrible. But it sort of looks like a shredded like pork or a shredded chicken. My lovely birthday flowers are having a dramatic fit here today. They've just been falling off, so maybe they'll just like dissipate throughout this whole thing. Just do a time lapse of the flowers. F the recipe. Let's watch the flowers slowly die. For the top piece, you can just do the same thing. Just break it apart with your fork. And yeah, and they sort of just like end up looking like that, so they're some kind of stuck together at the bottom there, so you can just tear them apart with your hands at that point. And just start putting them in a dish beside you, because we're gonna put some flavoring and oil on those in just a sec here. We're also in the middle of another heat wave, or at the start of one rather, and I've turned off all of the fans that I had going in my apartment because they're incredibly loud and I can't even hear myself think. So if I just like start looking extra greasy at some point, it's probably because of that, and not because of the poor lighting. And of course, don't forget to throw some onto your floor if you're a disaster like me. All right, this bowl is much bigger, but it'll work better. I just have like this stuff I found at the store the other day. It's like extra virgin olive oil, but with like mushroom. Anyways, I'm just gonna spray some of that on. Thought maybe it would help me control, like not just like pouring like a bunch of tablespoons on. You can always add a little bit more. So we're gonna add cayenne pepper. So you're gonna add about a teaspoon of that. So seems like I'm being pretty liberal. Probably am. But yeah, about a teaspoon of each of these. A teaspoon of paprika. Some salts. The Himalayan salts taste like pretty salty, so you don't have to add as much if you're using just white table salt. And I probably should have cut up some garlic, but I'm gonna use like 2 pretty big cloves of garlic, if that'll ever focus. There you go. You know what garlic looks like. All right. So it's approximately a heaping tablespoon, approximately. Good God, I cannot speak today. So yeah, and then just mix this up. And we want this to get crispy, so we do need the oil for this. And a lot of the moisture is gonna come out of the mushrooms as usual. So I'm gonna put a little bit more oil because we want it to be super duper crispy. There we go. Probably still added less than like 2 massive tablespoons of that little sprayer. All right. So that's what our pulled mushroom looks like. And then now we're just gonna add it to the air fryer. And if you're using a pan in your regular oven, just some parchment paper on a cooking sheet and just spread it all thinly. 1 layer on the bottom, and it should take about 20 minutes in the air fryer. I'm gonna guess it's gonna take about 10 minutes. So I'll set a 10-minute timer, or I'll probably set a 5-minute timer, stir it around, another 5 minutes, and we're probably good to go. You just want them to be pretty crispy. Obviously, I'll show you that step too. And usually by the time I'm finished cleaning whatever mess I've made in here, it's been about 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna take out the mushrooms and just toss them around. And I can smell them too, they smell great. They're already getting nice and cooked, so take some tongs and carefully just kind of move them around a bit so that they end up getting evenly cooked here. Oh yeah. So a lot of the moisture is coming out right now. And it's cooking off the oil and the spices. Delish. So throw them in for another 5 to 7 minutes. All right, so we're back. Let's talk about how absolutely hilariously hot it is in here, to the point where I've just turned on the air fryer and then the stove top only. And I went to go hit record again and it told me that the battery was exhausted. Like, me too, babe. Like, anyways, we got some nice crispy mushrooms. And our cast iron pan, gotta turn it back on, but it's nice and warmed up. If you want to add a little bit more oil to the pan, I suggest that you do, just to coat it. There's lots of oil in this recipe, but it will be good, I promise. So nice and crispy. This is gonna be good for 2 beast sandwiches. Okay, and then we're gonna add just Kraft barbecue sauce. That's all I saw in the store. Admittedly, I went to literally 1 store. Cannot be asked to go to 5 different stores today. Yes, barbecue knuckles. So just turn it down on low, because you want to get those buns toasted as well. Sweet. I think I might add just a little bit more. So I'd say about 3 to 4 tablespoons worth of barbecue sauce. You're gonna leave this on the stove on low just to get it warm for about 4 or 5 minutes-ish. And then you're gonna take your knuckles and wipe them off. Because we're messy here, but we're not out of control yet. So take your 2 buns and your vegan margarine. If you don't have any vegan margarine, go ahead and employ that oil again. And probably end up using about a tablespoon for all of them, so not that much. And this meal also, I would say, I mean, other than like the copious amounts of oil that I'm using, is pretty good for muscle building, I would say. Oops, I guess I should turn that back on. We'll just turn that on high. because of the mushroom. Because of the freaking mushrooms. Protein on protein on protein. So there you have it. Yeah, keep an eye on this. It's gonna start bubbling. It's already cooked, so you basically just want it to be evenly warm. If you want to get fancy, you can put some like pickled red onions on top, but I'm just gonna have them as is. And again, in the meantime, while I wait for those to toast and that to warm, put this stuff away. All right, so on to our very last step. We have our toasted buns. Put the bottoms on the plate. Just take our mushrooms, our shredded mushrooms, and pile them on top. I'm going to top them up with some of these fresh avocado slices. Just because I didn't plan and I didn't make any red onions, but I just feel like something like this with such a sharp flavor, like a barbecue flavor, needs something just a little bit more. And of course you could probably add you could probably add some lettuce or something to that, but what's the point of that? Whatever. Just eat it as it is. So there we have it. Very easy, super simple, vegan pulled pork, but it's pulled mushroom. And you know what? I didn't have anything barbecue like this whole summer, so this is gonna hit the spot for sure. Obviously, I'll try a bite so we can all see how obviously this is gonna be super messy. It's already falling apart, but I'll try and eat it over this plate. So good. Super messy though, so try and show you a little bit more of the inside there. It was like super freaking delicious. There you have it. Vegan pulled pork, but pulled mushrooms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified for the next time my videos come out. Peace.